All right, let's talk CMMC. If you're anywhere near the defense world, you already know the absolute headache that is compliance, especially the nightmare of collecting evidence. Today, we're going to look at how to transform that chaotic, manual process into something that's actually automated, continuous, and crystal clear. Let's dive in. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? If you've ever been through an audit, you know this feeling deep in your bones. You spend weeks, maybe even months, grabbing screenshots, exporting reports, and by the time you actually hand them over, they're already out of date. It honestly feels like a system that's just designed to fail. So let's really break down what makes this old school approach so painful. We call it the CMMC evidence headache. And believe me, it is a big one. So here's the fundamental flaw, right? Manual evidence is static. It's just a single snapshot in time. The very moment you take that screenshot of your MFA settings, it's history. It's already old news. The process isn't just incredibly slow and full of chances for human error, it forces assessors to trust a binder full of old pictures. That just doesn't provide any real continuous assurance. And this comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the old way, manual, outdated, inconsistent, which of course creates doubt. But on the right, you have the new way, automated verification with a continuous live feed of evidence that is totally verifiable and trustworthy. At the end of the day, this isn't just about being more efficient, it's about building trust with your assessor right from the get-go. So, how do we get to that better place? Well, the answer is all about an automated approach. And listen, this is not just a little tweak to the old system. This is about fundamentally changing how we think about evidence. Here it is, the big idea, and it's so simple but so powerful. You already have a whole bunch of security tools working for you 24/7. Your identity provider, your logging system, your endpoint protection. The magic is turning those tools you've already paid for into live, automated sources of compliance evidence. No more screenshots, just direct, living data feeds. And the workflow is actually pretty straightforward. First, you just connect the tools you're already using. Second, the system pulls in their data as live evidence. Third, and this is key, that raw data gets intelligently mapped to the specific CMMC controls. And finally, all of this is constantly updating a readiness score, so you always know exactly where you stand. Okay, let's dig into that first step a little bit more. Connecting your security tools isn't just some technical task you check off a list. It's actually a strategic move. See, each category of tool gives you a different and totally crucial piece of the compliance puzzle. As you can see, each one of these tool categories tells a critical part of your compliance story. Your identity tool, that proves who has access. Your SIM proves you're actually monitoring for threats by collecting all those logs. Your endpoint security proves your devices are locked down and secure. You put them all together, and they create this complete, verifiable picture of your entire security posture. This brings us to a really important concept, evidence mapping. You could almost call this the secret sauce. This is the process that takes a raw piece of data from one of your tools, like, say, a user list from Okta, and links it directly to a very specific CMMC requirement. Like control AC.L2.3.1.1, which is all about limiting access to authorized users. It literally turns raw technical data into audit-ready proof. So what is the ultimate payoff for all this automation and mapping? Well, it's something that every single business leader can immediately understand and act on, the CMMC Readiness Index. This changes the entire conversation around compliance. For way too long, readiness has just been a gut feeling, right? A subjective guess. But with automation, it stops being this vague, fuzzy concept. It becomes a hard number, a real metric you can actually track, manage, and improve over time. And there it is, a single, powerful number. Now, this isn't a guess. It's not a feeling based on an audit you did 3 months ago. This is a live, dynamic score that shows you how prepared your organization is for an assessment right now, based on real, verifiable data coming straight from your security tools. And the difference is just dramatic. Look at this. On the left, you've got the total uncertainty of manual evidence. Maybe you feel like you're about 35% ready. But on the right, with automated evidence, you have a confident, verifiable 92% readiness score. That's the difference between hoping you'll pass an audit and knowing you will. And what's so cool about this is that the score is alive. It's directly tied to the health of your tool integrations. When your tools are healthy and sending fresh data, your score stays high. But if a tool's connection breaks, let's say an API key expires, your score immediately drops, flagging a critical gap that you need to go fix. It's like having a real-time pulse check on your compliance. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds amazing, but it also sounds like a monster of a project. And you know what? That's a fair concern. But the key is to approach it with a clear, practical, and manageable plan. The trick is a phased rollout. You don't try to do it all at once. In the first couple of months, you focus on those foundational tools: identity, logging, and vulnerability management. These guys give you the biggest impact right away and build a super strong compliance core. From there, you start to extend your coverage with endpoint and incident tools. And finally, you just move into a continuous cycle of optimizing and maintaining. This approach takes a huge undertaking and makes it feel methodical and, most importantly, achievable. So, we'll end with this one question for you to really think about. When that assessor walks in the door, what are you going to show them? A binder full of old, outdated snapshots? Or a live dashboard showing continuous, verifiable compliance? The choice is pretty clear. It's between being reactive and being ready. Thanks for tuning in.